welcome to the Smart Publishing Impact Series. I'm Renée Loudermilk, Chief Editor at Smart Publishing, and this is the podcast where we explore all things writing, publishing, and the impact of storytelling. In each episode, I'll share insights and strategies to help you navigate the book journey, whether you're writing, publishing, or already an author. Plus, you'll hear from inspiring authors who are using their book to change lives. And if you're passionate about storytelling and ready to make an impact, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Now let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Smart Publishing Impact Series with me, your host, Renée Loudermilk, and Chief Editor at Smart Publishing. We are one episode away from episode number 50, which I'm going to have to do it on something really special. I should probably plan ahead a little bit more on what I do my podcast episodes on, but it's kind of reactive to what people are asking me about that week, experiences that I go through that week, because I just feel like sometimes when you're a little bit overly planful, things can feel a little bit stale and robotic. And so I want to keep it inspired, motivated, those sorts of things. So today's episode is actually all about Amazon reviews. So it's episode 49, Amazon Reviews Decoded, the number that unlocks visibility. So we're going to get into Amazon reviews. It's something that is really on our minds at Smart Publishing these days as we are going to be launching something new soon called Dollar Book Club. Dollar Book Club is a new member-based club where anyone who wants can pay $1 a month, and they get access to all of our Smart Publishing books over time. Of course, they have the opportunity to download just 2 per month. And what we ask for in return for that is an honest review on Amazon of the book or both of the books that they downloaded. That is our strategy, not just for getting our authors' content out there to more audiences and more people, but for also helping them get more reviews. Because one of the first things I'm going to say is that it is really, really, really hard to get reviews. You have to be very intentional about it. It has to be a constant focus. And that is especially so if these are genuine and honest reviews, which they should be, and not some type of gimmicky bot fueled or just fake review type of thing, which is super sketchy. We don't deal in that. That is just completely out of integrity. So we are always focused on getting honest reviews. So I'll talk about a few strategies that you can employ to get reviews. I've been good about these in the past. I will say I've not been good about it for a while because, like I said, it's just with my own books, it has to be a real constant focus where you're reaching out and you're asking people, because even if you go on Amazon, like go and look at a really popular book, even a really popular book, there might be 350 reviews. But how many people have read that book? Probably tens of thousands of people. And so when you think about the ratio of like, oh gosh, I can probably count on getting maybe like 2 reviews for every 100 people who read my book. That's what I'm talking about. That's the reality of the difficulty in getting Amazon reviews and the reason why we came up with our Dollar Book Club. So let's talk about like, why are we talking about reviews anyways? I've got a set of notes on everything that I've learned over time about how the algorithm works with Amazon's rating and review ratio. So I'm going to go through that. But Amazon I am always talking about first. Why am I always talking about Amazon first? If you've heard my content, you know why. If you've never heard my content, that's because over 60% of books sold worldwide are sold off of Amazon. By and far, they are the behemoth and the giant when it comes to market share in the book retailing industry, both online and physical bookstores, which are going the way of Blockbuster these days. So that is why I'm always focused on Amazon and their algorithm. Also, you have to remember Amazon is a marketplace. And so Amazon's success completely revolves around consumers' ability to find what they're looking for and to be happy with what they found. If you go to Amazon and you can't find what you're looking for, you're not going to go back there. If you go to Amazon, you find what you're looking for and it's an absolute disaster and you're very disappointed, you're probably not going to go back there. So Amazon wants to make sure that people are able to find what they're looking for and that they are finding things that they are very happy with, high quality, satisfying, experiences with what they purchase. So that is why Amazon uses a specific ratios of ratings and reviews to start to give more visibility to items because they're saying a lot of people are having a great experience with this. We want to sell more of this because it'll keep our shoppers happy and on our marketplace. So that is the reason. There is also, of course, a psychological reason that you want at least a certain amount, even if Amazon's not showing it, a certain amount of reviews. Just if you're sending people to Amazon to buy your book or you're talking about it, is, if people go there and there's like one review and it's 2 stars, they're not going to buy your book unless like they've already committed to you or like their family or close friend or something like that. It just signals that nobody's looking at it and nobody likes it, and we take that kind of social proof seriously, especially in these online days. So let's talk about what I'm calling the first threshold, 10 to 25 reviews. So what happens at this point is your book stops looking brand new and people associate things that don't have a lot of feedback with being risky. I might spend my money and not bear fruit from spending my money in a disappointing product or experience. That way, your conversion rate is going to start to increase. If you've got, a good rating with a fair amount of reviews, people are going to say, okay, looks like most people are having a good experience with this, so I'm going to try it out. And then, of course, pricing strategy is a whole other thing. I've got a whole episode on pricing strategy, so you can go back in the episodes and look for that. But uh, if you have 15 reviews and a good rating, but your book is $35, then conversion rate might not increase dramatically. So I just wanted to add that little important point there. Amazon's system is going to begin to trust your product slightly more. And that is if you have a range of 10 to 25 reviews at a sweet spot of about 4.3 to 4.8 out of 5 stars on average. If your book is below 4 stars, your conversion is going to suffer. Above 4.8, it can sometimes look artificially inflated if your volume is low. So let's just say you have 5 reviews at 5 stars. People are going to be like, oh, that's just their friends and family. So for most nonfiction books, we like to tell authors your first 25 reviews, that's more about credibility. It's not about the Amazon algorithm. It's not really going to hit any kind of uptick in visibility of your book. Now, where you start to get real momentum is around 50 reviews. This is where things get a little bit interesting. Around 50 reviews, if your rating is at least 4.5 or up. So now we're no longer at 4.3, right? Because this is about Amazon's algorithm, not just building credibility and a psychological factor with people who are ending up on your page. If the rating is 4.5 and up, your sales need to be steady as well. You've got a steady volume of sales. So it's not just like, hey, we got all these, let's say that you're someone and you're going to do this like one-time push and you get all these reviews back to back to back to back to back to back, but you're not having like a lot of sales come in. Amazon's going to see that for what it is. You're just doing this one-time tactic. It's not actually something people are coming, purchasing, and then reviewing in relation to their experience with the book. So it has to have consistent traffic, consistent sales, and your rating is 4.5 or above. Amazon will tend to show your book more often in that little customers also bought section. So if it has a relationship, it's a leadership book, and now there's this other leadership book that's along the same lines, it will probably start to show you in customers also bought. It does that through keywords and categories. So that's how it knows what to show in association with what. It will also surface it more in category browsing as well. You'll be, ranked higher in the category pages. If you are running ads, it will also improve your ad performance as well, because even if you're running ads, it's not necessarily gonna show it to people as much if, again, people are not having a consistent good experience with it. So, and then psychologically, of course, at 50 plus reviews, your book is going to look very, very well established. Now, the algorithm leverage, this really happens over 100 reviews. But remember, it's not just 100 reviews. So 100 reviews, we keep that 4.5 or up average, especially in a niche category. You're going to see your organic keyword ranking improve. So people are just going to find it through search more easily. You're going to have higher placement in category lists. You're going to have better stickiness in those also customers also bought carousels. You're going to show up in those more often. And then if you are running Amazon ads, those are going to become more profitable. You're going to have more visibility, which will lead to more clicks, which will lead to more conversions, because again, people are going and they're seeing, oh, it's highly rated and a bunch of people have rated it. This is the point where, what you call the flywheel effect starts. But it's not because of the number alone. Remember, it's because high reviews are linked with greater conversion. People see, oh, a lot of people are enjoying this. It gets more credibility. Higher conversion means Amazon is going to push more traffic. More traffic equals more sales equal more reviews. And now you start to get into this compounding effect. So the once you work up to a certain point, then you don't have to work as hard for it anymore. And that certain point, it's not easy. It's 100 reviews. Again, getting 100 credible reviews is something that you have to really work consistently towards. So, what actually matters more than your raw review count, which is important for your audience, is sales velocity. So, recent sales, not lifetime sales. Amazon is looking at that. Um, Conversion rate, your review quality plus your average rating. So review quality, Amazon actually measures review quality. If somebody just writes one sentence, it's not going to consider that a high quality review. High quality review is, I wish I knew, I want to say it's at least like 200 to 300 words in length. So it's more of a paragraph. It's descriptive. Amazon really likes media. So when somebody adds like a picture of the book or a video of something, Amazon really enjoys that because it feels like these are better quality reviews, where if somebody's evaluating this, it's going to give them more information to evaluate it. So that's what I mean by review quality. I know a whole lot about review quality too, by the way, because I am an Amazon Vine member, which means that I get a certain amount of Amazon products in exchange for leaving honest and high quality reviews. So I'm a reviewer myself. Those things are typically like, things for my kid, shirts and pants, and there's the occasional, I saw chicken socks on there today. If you have a chicken, you can buy some socks. Well, not buy, you can get some socks off of Amazon Vine if you're a Vine member. So anyways, that's totally aside. Relevance to keywords. So the book has to actually match the keyword. You can't just be piggybacking off of a keyword that has nothing to do with your book. It has to have high relevancy. Typically, if it doesn't too, Amazon will change stuff from out from underneath you. And then engagement, particularly around your Kindle version, they can actually track KNP, which is the amount of pages on average that are being read from readers in your book. So are people just buying your book and reading a couple pages and dropping it because it wasn't any good and it didn't draw them in, or are they actually reading it? So a book with, let's just say, 38 reviews, a 4.7 on average, and strong weekly sales will outperform a book with 212 reviews, a 4.1 average, and slow sales. So, see, it's not just about the number, it's about the blend. Um, the folks who create the algorithms at Amazon are very smart and they know how people try to game the system. And that's why they make these blended algorithms, is to prevent people from being able to do that. It has to actually be, a legitimate book that is selling and people are enjoying. So again, if we want to break it down pretty simply, 25 reviews, that's going to signal, psychologically, that's going to psychologically signal, hello, I can talk, credibility. 50 reviews starts to get you a little bit of traction in the algorithm. And then once you hit that 100 plus review, then you're going to start to get in the flywheel. But remember, reviews don't cause visibility, they increase conversion, and conversion causes visibility. So it's not just about the number, like we explored with that little example that I had created. Less reviews versus more reviews. It is a blend of things. So you actually have to be consistently promoting your book, having that consistent promotion turn into sales, and having those sales hopefully result in a fair amount of reviews of satisfied people who are happy and give a high rating to your view. One more thing that I would say is the distribution of your reviews matters. So a book with 60 reviews in its first 90 days will perform much stronger long term with 60 reviews accumulated over 3 years. So you want to get that early momentum. Amazon heavily weights recency. So it's got a huge recency bias. So for you guys, that means front load review acquisition during your launch window. This is something we always get our authors to do. Make sure you're asking people for reviews, and then keep trying to generate them consistently, which again, that's part of your long-term strategy. It's a whole thing. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. One, we're doing our dollar book club, so that's something that's going to be helpful for our authors over the long term. But if you just have a book that's out there and you're wondering how you can revive it, one, you might do a relaunch. You can always relaunch your book. You don't have to take it down and republish it. You can leave it up. You simply um, go like you're launching it again and have a launch date and advertise that, and maybe you do some price adjustments so for that 1 day launch promotion, or maybe it's a week long launch promotion that you do with a lower buying rate for something like, I would advise your Kindle version, because Kindle orders are instantly counted. They're counted the same day, and that goes towards bestseller if you're trying to hit bestseller. Print is a whole other story. Again, I've got a whole episode on bestseller strategy. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go and check out that episode. But another thing that you can do is you can add a QR code onto your conclusion page. So once your book is published and you have the link that goes directly to review your book on Amazon, you can do a QR code on your conclusion page at the very bottom with maybe even just a short code web address to get there. For those who can't, scan the QR code because they're reading it on their phone, they need the link to be able to click, and that will take them directly to reviews. And you can just ask, you can just have something real short there, like, you know, um, if you enjoyed this book, I would be so honored and thankful if you would take 60 seconds to rate, leave an honest rating and review. That will help get this book and this content out in front of more potential readers, something of that effect. So you can build that into your book. When you're launching, you can directly follow up with people who bought your book. Always provide the direct link, make it easy for them as possible, and ask them, frame it the same exact way. Hey, I would be so honored and so grateful if you would take 60 seconds. That'll help get this out in front of more people. And then, as you are doing things on an ongoing basis, which, you should be promoting your book on an ongoing basis, you're continuing to ask people, and continuing to put an emphasis on ratings and reviews. And it's a little bit of a hustle. Like I said, until you hit that flywheel point. Once you hit that flywheel point, you get a little bit of sustained momentum that feeds into each other. But Amazon still changes things all the time. They change algorithms. They change the way that people find stuff, and so it's always important to stay tuned in to podcasts like this, where I can provide those updates, because I stay really dialed in to what's going on with Amazon, their algorithms, publishing, all those sorts of things. But also, look at your keywords from time to time, evaluate if they are still, commonly searched keywords, popular keywords, those sorts of things. But again, that only really comes in handy once you have that certain amount of review to rating ratio. So that's everything that I have for this episode. I actually have a master class that I'm going to be doing coming up here in a couple hours, so I got to get ready to go talk to some awesome folks about all things writing and publishing. But until next time, I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you want to connect with me, I am mostly on Facebook, Renee Loudermilk, Lautermilch. I'm the only one in the world. So when you search me, just one of these should come up. It should be me. Add me, DM me. I always love when people drop in my DM to ask questions. I am here to serve. I am here to educate, and anything that I could do to help, I would love to. You can also find me and more educational content, including courses and blogs, on smartpublishingservices.com. And if you want to get in touch with me directly outside of Facebook, if you don't have a Facebook account, you can email me at Renee, Renee, at smartpublishingservices.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast already, please hit subscribe. And along the lines of this episode, if you have 60 seconds, I would be so honored if you could please rate and review wherever you have found this podcast. It will help to build my review count, and that will help to get me out in front of more people who could benefit from the content that I discuss on this podcast. So until the magical 50th episode, take care and keep writing your story, because the world needs your voice.